So these are next set of vocabularies, and let us begin reading. Asher, Asher is that which, who, where, and Bayin, between, among. So here, this word Bayin, if you note it down, it is very little bit closer to Bayin means sun. Okay, Bayin is sun. But you should note the difference. What is that? So here you have the bay and bay and yod and in, and but in the vocabulary for the vocabulary for sun, you won't see that yod. It's bain, just bain, that's sun. Okay, here bain is between and among. So in pronunciation, these vocabularies may look similar, but let us be very careful. And here again, he, yod, he, which means be, being, or this is a be verb. Okay, be verb. We will talk a little bit about that in the coming classes when we see some examples. And ma, may. Okay, may, which means it's interrogative noun, which means how, what. Okay, what, asking somebody what. It means ma, and may. Okay, how. And also it's sometimes used as exclamatory, how. Right? And mayim, water. Mayim, water, plural. Okay, water is not a singular. You cannot say one drop. If you want to point out, you can say drop of water, but still it is plural. So mayim is a masculine plural noun. And milkama. Okay, milkama, milkamot. Okay, this is plural. This is singular. So you know this is this is plural by just looking at the ending oath. Okay, this oath ending milkama, milkamot. Okay, war or battle. This is again a feminine noun. And mishpat, mishfatim, mishfatim. Okay, mishfat and mishpatim. So here this is pay. There is a dagesh inside, so you have to pronounce it with a pa sound, not fa sound. It should be pa sound. So mishpat, mishpatim, judgment, law, and justice. Ad, okay, ad, until, as for us, until, as for us. Im, with, im is with. And ayin, sheen, and hey. Ayin, sheen, and hey. So this is asha. Okay, this is asha, which is do or make. So I am pronouncing with masculine singular perfect. So asha. And call, voice or sound. Call, voice or sound. And ra'a, resh, aleph, hey. It's see. So whenever you see these three words with the dot, so these are all what? These are all verbs. Usually, that's what we are learning. And sa'ar, and se'arim, okay, sa'ar, se'arim. So this is seen and this is seen. So excuse me. So left side, if it comes, it is seen, and if it comes in the right side, it is seen. So this is sha'ar, she'arim, and this one is sadek, okay, sadot, field. So this is singular, plural, gate and field, sadek. All right. So the word ma has three different spelling. There is no difference in the meaning of the forms ma, or me. So even though this ma may has a three different way of expressing. They don't have a different meaning. So they are all same. The words mayim and kol are usually collective nouns. I told you, right? They are all plural, collective nouns, which means they have both singular and plural meaning in one form. Whenever you see a noun that has only one form, it is probably a collective noun. Collective noun. So either if it is needed to use in the context of singular noun, it is used. It has to. You can use it still mayim. So even if you want to use it as plural, it is still mayim. So there is no difference. Kol, and that is kol, voice or sound. This is also a collective noun. So that we can keep it in mind. So with that, we can go further. We can go further to see some of the sentence structure, some of the syntax, how the Hebrew has. Okay, let me open up the video. Right. So we'll be looking at the direct object. How the direct object is used in Hebrew. So for a very simple sentence, in Hebrew, a very simple sentence is something like Melech Zakar. Hamelech Zakar. The king Hamelech remembered. So a simple sentence. It has only a noun and a verb. Okay, it has only a noun and a verb. And sometimes there will be a direct object added. So let us see how it is. So here we have Hamelech Zakar, and Beyin. Hamelech Zakar Beyin. The king remembered a son. The king remembered a son. So here we have a noun and verb, or in other words, you can say subject, and here it is direct object. Okay, subject and a direct object. Okay, so the direct object usually answers the question what or whom. Okay, this a direct object in a sentence actually answers the question of what or whom. I think the video is little not clear. Let me see how I can fix it. So it answers the question what or whom. Here the king remembered. Okay, here if you make this sentence as a question, this is the answer for the king remembered whom. Okay, the king remembered whom. The king remembered a son. So that is the function of direct object in a sentence. And let us continue. I think these are very basic for you in English as well. So we don't have to go deeper. The definite and indefinite noun. So as we have already seen that whenever the noun whenever the noun, if you want to make it definite, it actually we will be adding what? We'll be adding a hey. We'll be adding a hey. So hey is, high is. So if you see high is, it is the man. It means this ha, this the, which makes this noun a definite noun. And in another words, in another case, if you know this noun ear, so there is no definite article here, so this is an indefinite noun. So it is like some capacity, or yeah. So that is how we know that the definite and indefinite nouns. So when we know the vocabulary clearly, so we can easily understand which is the definite noun and which is the indefinite noun. And in the similar way, we also have definite and indefinite direct objects. So we just saw what is direct object. So direct object answers the question of what and whom in a sentence. So there is we have to understand definite and indefinite article. So how it happens. So we will see in Hebrew, when the direct object is a definite noun, it usually has it. Okay, yeah. I think definite and indefinite direct object. Okay, the DO means it is a direct object. So please note it down. Direct object. So whenever in Hebrew, if the direct object is definite, it usually preceded by it. Okay, it. So let us see an example. So we will take a different example. Shalach. Okay, Shalach. Shalachta lehem. Shalachta lehem Lerushalayim. Okay, Lerushalayim. Salah. Okay, you might have already noticed in some of your exercises and in some sentences, the sentences begin with a verb, right? So this is very usual. So I will put it here and I will explain it. Okay. So sentences usually begin with, sometimes sentences begin with verbs. So it is not very uncommon in Hebrew. So here, Shalachta Lachem et Lerushalayim. So we will translate what is Shalach, sending. Okay, Shalach is sending, the three-letter root. Sheen, Lamed, and Chet. So this shows it is sending. Okay, sending something. So here, looking at this last word, the ending word, here we can understand this is the second person. Okay, Shalaka, second person, singular. Shalaka. Okay, second person singular. Right. So here we will translate it as you first. You sent. Okay, you sent. Lechem is what? Bread or food. Lechem is bread or food. And I think I made a small mistake. So Salahta, usually the object marker comes here. Okay, Salahta et lechem. It means Salahta et lechem Jerusalem. You sent the bread. Okay, there should be a he here. Okay, hal lechem. So Salahta et hal lechem Jerusalem. So what does it mean? You sent the bread to Jerusalem. So here you need to understand this yet. Okay, this yet. This doesn't have any meaning. This doesn't have any translation. But this is this presence in the sentence to tell this direct object. Here we see the subject and verb is here within Salahta, and this hal lechem is the direct object because this tells where the bread is sent. Okay, so the bread is sent to Jerusalem. So here, I think I mean what is being sent. Okay, this answers the question what is being sent. So here bread is being sent to Jerusalem. So here this is the direct object. So yet tells which one is the object in the sentence. Okay, this yet just denotes the whatever the following noun is the direct object. So there is no translation for it. So sometimes you may come across these kind of this word in the sentences. So you don't have to be worried. Actually, this is actually making you to understand which is the direct object. And let me make you one more example here. Who Shamer, yet Jerusalem. Who Shamer et Jerusalem? Who is he? He guarded. So here we know this is already direct object, right? Jerusalem, I mean definite noun. This Jerusalem is definite noun. So you don't have to add the Jerusalem. It is already Jerusalem is definite. So who Shamer yet Jerusalem, which means he guarded Jerusalem. So that's it. This et is here to tell us this is the direct object. So the presence of et is to help us to understand which is definite, which is the definite direct object. So we don't have to be worried much about this. Okay, just keep note of that. Otherwise, you can usually translate as it is. So there is no meaning for it. I mean, no translation for it. So don't worry about that. And why it is used here? Okay, why it is used here? This helps. Okay, it helps us to understand complicated sentences. Okay, when the sentence is much bigger, so when you are able to locate where is the direct object, so you can easily understand the subject of the sentence. From there, you can easily understand where is the subject of the sentence. So that will help us to easily translate. That is the main function of this it in the Hebrew sentence, right? So yeah, let me do some examples again. So after which we will close the class now. So how Shamar et Hannaar. The father Shamar guarded the young man. So here we have two definite noun. So two definite noun, and if there is no it, yeah, we can simply translate, but at the same time we will be not knowing this Samar is to which verb to which noun this Samar is actually denoting. It can go even to this ha na ar. Okay, so we don't know whether the father guarded the young man or the young man guarded the father. So it can be translated in either way if there is no it. Okay, that is the reason here the it is used so that it answers the question whom the father guarded. So the father guarded the young man. So when there is two nouns, we should be very clear which one is the subject, who is doing what. And David Zakar et Abraham. Okay. David Zakar et Abraham. David remembered Abraham. So here both are already definite nouns. So we don't have definite noun marker. I mean the hey. So and also since these both are definite nouns, we need to understand which will be the subject clearly. So to which noun this zakar is associated with. So here by understanding yet direct marker, so we understand this yet is making this Abraham as the direct object. Abraham as the direct object. So here is the subject. So David remembered Abraham, right? So this is a very simple lesson. So you will be seeing some more exercises related to that. So that is the major function of it. So keep that in mind, and